Hello, how are you all? Students of class 8. Dear students, we completed 8th chapter, and that is through grandpa's eyes. Okay, we completed 8th chapter through grandpa's eyes, and after that we also completed the voice, active passive voice, and in that you learnt it very well. Fine. So I had also sent you some of the sentences to solve the questions. But if you are finding any problem, you can ask me the question through your message, right? So that you can solve the doubts. But at last, whenever we are completing our PA2 syllabus, and after that also I can solve all your doubts whenever revision will be going on. But even then, personally, if one or two questions you have, and if you don't know how to make the sentences turn sentences from active into passive, you can ask me. Fine. Okay, fine. Now students, we are going to learn chapter 9, Blackwood House. Okay. Now in this chapter, this is a play, right? And in this there are three scenes, right? Scene 1, scene 2, and scene 3, as usually whenever you see a play, right? Drama. So in that different in the different situations, different scenes are there on the stage. Have you seen a drama or a play? You might have seen, right? So this is a play, and in this two characters are there. One is Mr. Cooper, right? And Mr. Cooper is a estate agent, and Dr. Norton, who wants to buy the house, right? So the writer of this play is G.C. Thornley, right? The writer of this play is J.C. Thornley. He has written many plays, and out of that, this is a famous play. And let me introduce in short. Um, Sometimes you might have learned the ghost stories. Sometimes you might have seen some serials in which there is a ghost, and at last what happens. So Blackwood House is a story of of a haunted house. Actually, it is haunted or not, that you will come to know afterwards. So say last May, right? So this play has a surprised ending, right? And the story Blackwood House revolves around a doctor, Dr. Norton, who wants to buy the house, right? And in this chapter there is an estate agent. His name is Mr. Cooper, right? And in this play there are three scenes, right? And Mr. Cooper, estate agent, deals about property, and Dr. Norton, who wants to buy a house, right? So this play is related to a special house, right? Where Mr. Cooper says that there is a ghost in the house, right? But the ending is a surprise ending. Fine. So whether there is a ghost or not, who is this, what happened, right? And how did the narrator, how did Dr. Norton, Dr. Norton, who wants to buy a house, how did he face, and how he had an encounter with the ghost, and at last what happens, right? That we have to see in this play. Now scene 1 is going to be started, right? So first location, what is the location? The office of an estate agent. First location, you can see, you can imagine there is a stage, and on the stage there is an office, right, of an estate agent. There are several notices about houses and shops on the walls, right? You imagine that there is a wall, there are walls in the offices, as there are walls on the offices, and on the walls there are the pictures of houses, shops, and several notices. All these pictures are there. It is about 10 in the morning. What is the time? 10 in the morning. Mr. Cooper is writing at a table. Mr. Cooper is an estate agent, right? So he is writing something sitting on the table. Dr. Norton walks in. At that time, Dr. Norton comes inside. So now, uh, Dr. Norton says, "Good morning." He says to Mr. Cooper. Dr. Norton says, "Good morning. Are you Mr. Cooper?" Cooper says, standing up, "I am. Please sit down." They both sit. "What can I do for you?" As usually, somebody comes to the office, and how one should welcome. So he welcomes Mr. Norton and says to sit. Norton says, "I'm Dr. Norton. I'm coming to leave and walk in Overwood, and I'll need a house." Right? So I'm coming to leave and walk in Overwood. Right? So Overwood, that is the name of a city, the name of the area. So there he is working, and he wanted to have a house. Cooper said, "I understand. Would you like to buy a house?" As he was an estate agent, he was ready to show the houses to the people who wanted to buy. So he's asking to Mr. Dr. Norton that he wanted to buy a house. Norton says, "Yes, if it doesn't cost too much." Right? Norton wants to buy a house, but it should not cost too much. So he wants to purchase a uh, uh, want to purchase a house with reasonable price. Cooper says, "Well, the prices are going up." What he says, that nowadays the prices are going up because this is the situation, that the houses are very costly and prices are going up. Norton says, "Can you give me an idea of the prices?" Right? So he wanted to buy. So he told that, "You give me the idea about the prices of the house." Cooper says, he points to a notice on the wall. There is a notice on the wall, and he is pointing as the notice. The owner wants £5,500 for that house. He shows one house to him, and he says that the price of this house is £5,500. Now on page 102, beta. See, here is the office. You can see, right? This is Mr. Cooper, and this is Dr. Norton, right? So see the pictures on the wall, right? All the things on the table, right? So he is Mr. Cooper, an estate agent, and he is Dr. Norton. Fine. Okay. Norton. Oh, that's too much for me. Isn't there anything cheaper? He told that the price, he showed the picture of a house and told that the price of this house is £5,500, right? So he's asking for the cheaper house. That it is too costly and I don't want to buy that house. Cooper says, "How much are you willing to pay?" Right? So he's asking the wish of the doctor's wish, that what kind of house he wanted to buy. Norton says, "Well, about £2,000, perhaps a little more." Right? He wanted to purchase the house worth rupees 2,000 pounds. So he also told that if a little more is there, it would be okay for him. Now Cooper, the estate agent, says, well, most of the houses cost more than £6,000, right? So whatever houses I'm connected with, those houses almost cost £6,000. Norton says, "That's far too much, but I must find somewhere to live." He points to a notice. What's that? He particularly finds one notice on the wall, and he says that he looks at one house and says that I want, and he pointed at that house and says that, what's that? Cooper says, that's Blackwood House. What he says? That is a Blackwood House. But you don't want that, of course. Right? You will not be able to buy that house, I'm sure, he says. Norton says, why? What's the matter with it? Where is it? Now he's surprised that why he denied to purchase this Blackwood House. Right? So he is further asking, then what is the matter with it? Right? And where is it? Cooper says, in the middle of the town. This Blackwood House, what is the name of the house? Blackwood House. And that Blackwood House is in the middle of the town. Norton says, perfect. How much is it? What is the price of this? Cooper, 1,000 pounds. So with hesitation he says that it is worth 1,000 pounds. So less price. It is so cheaper. Right? Norton says, is that all? Really? That's not much. Right? That is enough. So I can purchase. Why is the price so low? He's asking about the low price. What is the reason behind that? Why the price is so low? So he's doubtful about that. Cooper says it hasn't always been as low as that. Just now the price is so very low. But that is not a normal thing. Why the price is low, you don't know. Mr. Worley wanted 4,000 pounds at first. Mr. Worley is the owner of that Black House. And he said that at first Mr. Worley wanted 4,000 pounds for that Blackwood House. Then the price fell to 3,000 pounds. Then the price fell. What is the reason? That you also don't know. I'll tell you afterwards. Now it's at 1,000 pounds. But no one wants that house. Oh, now the price is 1,000 pounds. But no one wants that house. Now Norton is asking the reason. Why? What is the reason? Even it is so cheap, no one wants to buy. And why the price is so low? He wants to know the reason. On page 102. Okay. Right. Now he is asking. Now Cooper. Cooper is asking, well, the truth is, so he's hesitating. He does not want to tell anything about that, right? So it was something very dangerous and he did not reply properly for that. Now Norton says, is it a terrible state? Anything terrible? Is asking. Cooper says, oh no, it's in good order. Good order means it's in a good condition. So he's asking that if terrible estate, is there a weak house that would fell down? Is there any problem? So he said, Cooper says, no, it's in good order. It is at good condition. But there are some strange stories about the Black House, right? When somebody tells us that there is a strange story, dangerous stories about that house, and we will really get afraid of that. Oh, I don't want to go to that house, right? So that is the thing that we will definitely fear about that. So Blackwood House, the owner, now he is opening the secret. The owner, Miss Worley, died in the house 2 years ago. What happened? Before 2 years, the owner of this house, Mrs. Worley, died in this house. She wasn't a happy woman. She was not a contented woman. She was not a happy woman, right? But she loved Blackwood House, right? She loved this house very much, Blackwood House. She lived in that house. She died, but she loved that house very much. And people say that. What the people say about that? Now see the dangerous thing. She comes back in the night to visit her old home. So this was the old home was Mrs. Worley. And she comes here, right, for the visit. Who said this? Mr. Cooper. Norton said. Norton says, what? 2 years after her death? Even after 2 years, she comes here every day, every night. Oh, that's too strange. right? Very horrible, he told. Cooper says, yes, she always wore a white dress. What he says? She always wore a white dress when she was alive, and several people think that they have seen the white visitor, as they call her, right? And they all, every night, that lady after death comes to that house, and everybody, and she wore every day, she wore white dress, right? And people says that they've seen this white visitor, right? They call this visitor a white visitor, right? So you might have also seen so many movies of ghost and this and that, na? So the same thing happened. So, right, that lady comes every night, and she is the white visitor. She comes with white dress, and so she is a white visitor. Norton says, well, I don't believe in that kind of thing. Now Norton is very bold. He says he is a soldier. So he says that he don't believe in all these things. Can I see the house? Right? After listening to this, he says that I want to see that house. If ghost is there, if she comes every night, right? Cooper says sure. But you must not buy that house, Dr. Norton. What Cooper says, estate agent, that Dr. Norton should not buy that house because it is a haunted house. So he denied to purchase that house. Norton says, please take me to see it now. But Norton does not afraid of this, right? He says that he wants to go to that house and he wants to see that. Cooper sadly, if you wish, they go out together. He is sad. Why? We don't know why he was sad, right? But when he told that if Norton wants to visit that house, definitely they are supposed to go. So Cooper is not getting afraid of that, and he wants to purchase that. He wants to see that house where the white visitor comes every night, right? So this was the thing that Mr. Cooper, an estate agent who was selling the houses and in the office, and he was sitting, and every day he used to go to the office, and one day Dr. Norton came. He wanted to purchase a house, right? Because his workplace was there, and he wanted to purchase a cheap house, not that much a costly house. So Cooper says that one house is there, and its price fell down up to 1,000 pounds. And what was the reason? He said it to him, right? So up to first scene, because it is there are three scenes, so it is better to explain all the scenes one by one, right? So after explaining first scene, then in the second part second scene, and in the third part I'll explain third scene, right? And after explaining all these three scenes, we are supposed to complete the discussion of the question answers. So you will have to read all this properly, and out of this you have to find some words. And if you are not finding any difficult words, what you have to do, you have to select around 10 to 15 words, and out of that you have to make some sentences, and you have to make sentences yourself, right? So in this way you have to complete, you have to read this, you have to understand the meaning of this dialogues, right? And you have to remember what I explained to you. Okay, now for the second scene we are meeting in the next video. Thank you. Bye bye.